Hello, this is Grinstar. Good morning. Well, at least in morning in my time when I'm recording this. I got a comment from a viewer not too long ago that asking to see if I can make a video on the realistic strumming parts of Impact Shreddage 3.5 with Telos, or at least they want to try out Telos, and so I'm gonna try it out myself. I am no means an expert, but I will get a I will take a chance to work with shreddage any day of the week because I like the sounds. I like playing around with this stuff, and I need to learn it. So the only way to learn it is to use it a lot. Anyways, let's get down to works. Okay, so shreddage 3, if you don't know, is a guitar VST, and it can mimic a guitar, depending on the sound and stuff like that. Right now, I have the all around rhythm preset set, um, and so what we are going to look at mainly is playing around with the strumming tab. Now, I have on strum on poly input, which means that if I put three keys, thus poly, it will work, or I will strum. Now, I find that for my taste, I love sustains. I really love the sound of the ringing through and stuff like that. It's a personal preference. So by default, it loves to cut the notes off, and it sounds kind of jarring, especially when I play it on the piano or play it on with a MIDI instrument. So I have a large piano that I'm using, 88 key keyboard piano with a sustain pedal. So I'll be liberally using that sustain pedal to make it sound a little bit more nicer to my ears, and try to get that ring out, that strum. So basically, without it, that's me, and that's the difference, right? So if you're hearing the long strums and you're not getting the same thing, it's because I'm using a sustain pedal. It works beautifully with a sustain pedal. I really like it. It makes it sound nicer. Anyway, so back onto the strum on poly input. You got a couple of options here, and it may look a little weird at first. I know it was for me, but basically you have a strum speed map, and it's set to velocity. So that means as long as I press on the keys lightly, it should have a strum speed depending. But the problem is that I don't do poly input on these keys really well, and that's a bigger issue. So what happens is that okay. So these purple keys over here will do a strum for you on whatever last chord that you press. So if I do that chord, and you should be able to see the buttons being pressed. Now, if I press it with my mouse, there's no velocity, or it's the same velocity over and over and over again. But if I use my keyboard, and this is the reason I'm using my keyboard, that when I press on the key, I get different strums and different strum speeds, and that helps with the kind of the realistic. So when you're programming this stuff in the piano roll here, and you go and look at your piano roll, whatnot, you want to go in here and go into the velocities. So if you got your chord, whatnot, programmed in, and you could do different velocities based upon the strumming here. And of course, you have to let it go out. Come on. So that sounds good and okay, but if you have four of these together, it doesn't sound realistic at all. So maybe we mess with the velocity of the strums. It does it a little bit. You got to mess with it and fine tune it because basically, like a real guitarist is not going to hit the same unless they're really, really, really good and they've been doing that part for a while. They're not going to hit the same chord, the strings the same way, right? They're gonna alter the strum speed, or they're gonna alter the velocity, the sound of it. So kind of when you're going for realism, and all the videos I've seen, you want to mess with the velocity, and what that makes it kind of suck sometimes because basically it's bad enough trying to program a bar and not have it sound like total repeating roboticness. And so what I tend to do is I tend to kind of like Bitwig has this really great humanized plugin or a chain tool. So you pop it in there, and what we're basically looking at is to mess with the velocity a bit, not with the timing. And then basically, depending on the velocity differencing, you should be able to hear a kind of a difference, and it'll help your strums get a little off and a little bit different so that it's not the same every time it goes. Worst case scenarios, what I love to do is go in the note grid. I've done a video, my last 3 videos on randomizing the certain things that come out of note grid. You can definitely do velocity. I know one of my videos I've done velocity on it is specifically because basically this is great, but I have no clue at what velocity it tends to do things, and I have more control when I'm doing it in the grid. So that's another tip. Got the ums coming. I gotta stop. Anyway, so there's strumming. Now there's strumming mode. You can actually turn it on, and no matter what you do, you're not hearing anything. So you can put your chord up there. But if I press down it, I hear nothing. I'm pressing this key again to get it to do stuff. And then once again, with the velocity, and so on and so forth. So say you don't like velocity. Say that it's really bad. So you can use CC values, and then on these you got a CC mapping, and so we're doing CC of 2. So basically, what you can do is you could grab this MIDI CC little tool right here, and then go on to CC2 here and mess around with it. It'd probably help if I strum on poly input. Now, no matter how hard or light I press it, it always sounds the same because if I'm... Now, no matter how bad I play on the keyboard with the changing velocities that I tend to do, it will always be at the same strum rate. And then now we can automate this using Bitwig or some other tools to sit there and be able to mess with the strum rate however we want. So we can put it like on a curve or something like that. That's crazy. Why would anybody do that? I don't know. But we're going to do it. Good thing about these is that you can put them on like bars and stuff like that and have it repeat, or you can have steps or something and have it do it. And then that way that will give you guaranteed different strum patterns. And you can make it simple or, and I went and close this, simple or really variance depending on how far up the thing is. And you don't have to use curves. You can use steps, or you can use an LFO. You can use a envelope or ADSR, like on a key. This one would kind of be interesting because you're gonna ramp up depending on how you press the keyboard or when you press the keyboard. So you can see down here that I'm doing it on key press. It only moves when I press. And it kind of gives it a uniform type of thing too. But you can mess with the attack and it's like make it go. So this gives you kind of a best of both worlds. Also, if you didn't want to if you have it on the strumming mode and you want to mess around with the individual keys, you can deal with these blue ones over here. It's pretty cool. So there's the strum speed. There's a strum velocity or volume. Sorry, strum volume that's tied with velocity. So basically, what you can do is you can also increase the sound of the strum or how hard you hit that strum. So now it will always be the same speed and the same sound, no matter how hard you get those keys. And then strum distance would be how far, I guess, how far the actually, I'm not really sure on that one. To be brutally honest, let me put it on 10 so I'm not or a higher thing, so I'm not confusing it with the mod wheel. And then let me move 10, 11. So let me... Yeah, I'm not really... certain on what that one. I'd probably have to read the documentation because it doesn't sound any different when I move up and down the CC, and I do have it on 11, so as far as I know, that's correct. Actually, I have two 11s. That could probably be half the problem. Well, that volume's working really well. Yeah, I can't tell you. It doesn't sound any different. Technically, it probably has something to do with it. And then... not sure what the Strum Audition does. I don't mess with these types of controls much. These are kind of relevant for it, but not on the other stuff. But either overall, this is really great for kind of messing around. Now, you have some other things that will change sound, and that's the performance style, I've noticed. Like, you hear that, or it just cuts off everything because it's doing mono, so it's not letting it ring out. Oops. Too much. I do know this changes, especially when you're playing like this, and it will change the sound. You can change this, also the tone and stuff like that with these knobs, with how much bite, how much extra attack, like how hard you're hitting the things and stuff like that, and pitch bend range. And then the articulation page, I've gone over this before in past videos, but you can change the sounds on it, like doing harmonics and tapping, and you can change it to whatever settings that you need to be able to do those. So like if I wanted to turn on rake, I normally turn everything off to get the same sound all the time without it changing, because what tends to happen is I get these pitch harmonics that sound not good because I'm looking for a sustain, and because I hit it, hit it the hardest, it changes the overall character of what I'm doing. Like that. It's supposed to strum, but because I have it on rake, it's not doing it. because it's doing a rake. Or it might be as fast as I'm hitting it too, but either way, you got all kinds of options here on the changing. So if you want to do choke on the keys, if you want to do so basically for more realism, you kind of want to alter between like mutes and sustains. And I've done a video on that one too in the last couple of days, or last week I think, on changing a lot of these so that it can get the change up of sound. So you can go for the realism on doing like mutes. So let's see if I can. So you can do like power chords, sustains, and stuff like that, and change up the overall voice. And as I know about realism and guitarists, as much as I've seen in videos, you kind of want to do everything you can with all these articulations to kind of change it up. You want to do kind of like bend the strings with your pitch bend or your modulation. You kind of give it a little wobble or something every now and then. And you got to do like different things. Overall, you can like pull in effects. So you can start off with that and then go into your strums or something like that. So overall, you got a lot of... That's the reason why I like these, is because you have a ton of possibilities on different sounds. It just generates a whole bunch of endless kind of things for sounds in the way you're doing it, so that you're not stuck with the same over droning of the same stuff you're used to, like with the U-Jam and I guess the Sunburst for what this was comparison by. But the difference on those is that they... So let me change up the contact here. So let me do this. Because I do happen to have Sunburst. At least I thought I do. There we go. Right, so you have a very limited set when you're dealing with Sunburst. And they're like single notes. Bigger difference is that this is an actual person playing these things and these melodies, so they sound great together. The thing with the shreddage that I think is that because I'm not a guitarist, the way I program them is not going to sound like this. That's just one setting. We got a ton of them that'll give you different abilities of doing it, and it's not bad. I mean, it's yeah. I'm wondering how I could do that in Shreddage. That's actually pretty cool. Sorry. Yeah, that's impressive. I don't play with this a lot. This one a lot. I stick with the shreddage ones, and I try it all the time. But anyway, I hope you like the video. It's a little over all over the place, but I hope you got something out of it. If what you're looking for, at least sound wise, and being able to probably take to it out of a rookie. I got probably a couple of years playing around with the shreddage guitars, and I'm still cause I don't. I'm not a person. Well, I'm not a musician that does this. I got a 9 to 5 job of programming, so everything I do is on YouTube, recording and playing around to get myself to get better. And so, like I said, any chance to play able to play with the shreddage stuff, I take, because every time I learn something and I take it and I forget it because I go back to do something. But I'm getting better at remembering and doing stuff and all the little tricks and stuff like that you can do. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I will catch you later.